David, we got David McGuinty. He speaks with the media. He is in Sydney, Australia. Then we're most likely, as soon as that's done, gonna head off. Anita Anand is making an announcement. She's, a foreign affairs minister. She's going to be making an announcement in Toronto. Don't know what that's about. Maybe a bit of a Q&A about Iran. I don't know. Because, the Prime Minister's is in Australia, of course. He didn't speak. But the Defense Minister, David McGuinty, did. So that's pretty good. Pierre is on a speaking tour. It sounds like they're changing the opposition. He's going to Germany and maybe Portugal, I think, as well. Anyway, it's weird for an opposition MP to go travel. And, he's traveling. He's doing the world, conservative leader Pierre Poliver world tour. Let's see how that goes. It'll help his image. And, I hope he's not critical of Canada. Argue all you want on these shores, but when you go outside the doors, I don't know. We'll see how that works out. It just hasn't been done before, so it's easy to be skeptical. That'll be tough. But I think it's a good idea, to be honest. If he's conciliatory, you know what I mean? He's like, oh, Canada's good, blah, blah, blah. I'm not here to make deals. I'm just here to listen, whatever. To help boost his image, his international image, because that's what he really needs against Carney. Like, Carney's Mr. International, right? It's a downfall, but it helps when we got international deals on the table, which we do coming in the summer, and everything else that's going on. Anywho, hey Google, turn off music, please. Sorry about the background music. So yeah, we got David McGuinty in Sydney. A lot of people have been complaining about the speed at which this has been going. Like the speeds that have never been foreseen. Blah blah blah, and it turns out it's been very slow. Like these major projects are being approved are kind of slow. The housing development program has been slow. So they're getting a lot of flack. But the thing is they have time, this Liberal government, to do the CUSMA deals, right? So they basically have a time till next October. They have till next October to actually get anything done. So if it could be October comes up, the CUSMA deal's done. I think it's going to work out decent. It's not going to be the greatest, but I believe it'll be decent. The fights, started, and by then it'll be calmed down, the presidency. Usually this is what happens. And so that everything works. And then they'll start delivering wins, right? Oh, this project, that project, this project, that project. All these projects are going to be approved all at the same time when they're going to be needing it after CUSMA's been signed and they took a few hits, right? To some sacred, who knows? Who knows what they're going to go for? But they said they're going to work on this one hard. So that's all we got there. I think is what's happening is they're just waiting to bring out the win. So they're getting their ducks so much in a row. They probably could announce, and other governments would have announced them already, but they're holding back. Yesterday with Doug Ford, he's moving forward with the Ring of Fire. This is decades. This is just to build this one road up there. This is Canada. It's taking too long to build anything, and that's why we have stresses on the middle class, right? Basically, right? If you got more money to outbid someone, there's no problems with anything, right? You're like, oh, outbid them. It's fine. So basically, we have Australia defense minister. So I wonder, did he? They were under Trudeau. They were trying to get in with the sub deal, and Trump said no. There's a sub deal thing going on in Australia where the UK is involved. Australia and the United States. I think the United States is handing technology over, kind of thing, like sub-technology over. We'll see what this is about. This is just a short time ago in Australia. See it here first. Let's listen to David McGuinty, the Defense Minister of Canada.
Look at me, I'm the Defense Minister. All right, all set to go? Good afternoon, everyone. Bon après-midi, tout le monde. Thank you very much for joining me here in Sydney. Obviously across from the beautiful, well-known Opera House. We're here in Australia to start off the second leg of a three-leg tour in the Indo-Pacific. This is a very important relationship for Canada to continue to build on. It is one that's predicated on years of cooperation. We're a Five Eye partner country. We share information. We've had a long, strong, and historical relationship between our countries. And it's one that we're building on. We're building, of course, on two tracks. One is, just generally speaking, a broader and deeper economic connection. But we're also, as we move more directly into the Indo-Pacific, we are moving into the area of defense and security with our Australian counterparts much more directly. So I'm pleased to be here to participate in the tour with the Prime Minister. We have a whole series of meetings lined up with private companies, with research institutes, with parliamentarians, Prime Minister, ministers of the Crown. So we hope will be a very productive several days together. Donc on est très content d'être ici aujourd'hui avec vous. C'est une mission importante pour le Canada présentement. On travaille de très près avec les Australiens, avec l'Australie depuis très longtemps. Mais évidemment, on a d'autres progrès à faire. Des connexions au niveau économique, comme je l'ai dit en anglais, des connexions au niveau de défense, de sécurité, de renseignement. L'Australie est un partenaire important dans le mouvement des Five Eyes, des 5 pays qui coopèrent depuis très longtemps. Donc c'est un moment important pour nous. This is not so much about competing with Australia as it is collaborating. And as the Prime Minister said, perhaps I'll close with this before taking your questions, as the Prime Minister made very clear in Davos and his telegraph to the world, middle powers like Canada and Australia have a lot in common and a lot to build on. And if we diversify our relationships, deepen those relationships, as we hope to do here over the next couple of days, we believe it's a very positive thing for Canada, Australia, and for the world. Thank you very much.
Mr. McGuinty, can you take us through the government's thinking back to the U.S. airstrikes? Did we have a choice?
Listen, the government of Canada has been very clear about its position on Iran for some time. Recently listing a group in Iran as a terrorist organization, obviously following very carefully the kinds of human rights abuses, the terror inflicted upon the population in Iran, the suffering of women in particular in Iran. So the Prime Minister was very clear in his statement that he supported the incursion led by the United States and Israel. But I want to make it very clear that Canada and Canada's armed forces were not involved in the preparation nor the execution of that particular decision by the Israelis and the Americans to attack Iran. Le Canada, depuis très longtemps, critique et est contre ce qui s'est passé en Iran depuis longtemps, des décennies. Les gens, la population ont beaucoup souffert, surtout les femmes. Et on voit ça depuis quelques années. Le Premier ministre a indiqué clairement que c'est le moment d'appuyer les États-Unis, d'appuyer le double entre les Israéliens et les Américains. C'est un moment important pour le Canada d'être là, mais je vais être en même temps très clair que les forces armées canadiennes n'ont pas été impliquées, ne sont pas impliquées dans ce qui se passe maintenant en Iran. Well, listen, as I say, we've been following the situation in Iran for quite a while, carefully. We're getting just-in-time updates on the situation in the Middle East now. And the Prime Minister and the government decided from the beginning of this that we would support this incursion. But we're also calling for a diplomatic end to it. We very much would prefer to see peace and a ceasefire. That's what my colleague, Minister Anand, is driving forward now with her colleagues around the world. And so we'll see where this takes us. Canadians know this is a difficult, complicated, and unfortunate situation. We would all rather see peaceful dialogue. But we have a situation now where two sovereign countries, have decided to prosecute a war. Canada is not involved in that war at this time. Ben écoutez, on préfère toujours que les choses soient assujetties à une résolution où on dialogue, où on parle ensemble. Ce qui se passe avec la terreur, l'endommagement de l'Iran et les pays aux alentours, la perte de vie, les gens qui sont blessés. Pour le Canada, évidemment, l'alternative, c'est toujours, ce serait peut-être meilleur pour nous de poursuivre comme on le fait. C'est une résolution diplomatique, mais en même temps, on est là pour aider les gens qui sont présents dans la région. Nos équipes diplomatiques au Canada sont là pour aider. Les gens sortent maintenant sur des vols commerciaux, mais on se tient à l'écoute de très près avec ce qui se passe.
Does Canada believe it is a positive development that the Ayatollah is dead and was killed in these strikes?
Does Canada believe that the killing of the Ayatollah is a positive development? The Ayatollah Khomeini has been for many, many decades a very, very powerful force for evil in Iran and in the region. We know what's been happening and led through Iranian proxies. We know where funding and financing has been coming from. We know the extent of the involvement of the Iranian regime in, for example, organized criminal syndicates. We know what's been happening. And so at this stage, let's hope that cooler heads prevail. Let's hope that things calm down. Of course, we're watching this very carefully. It's a very serious moment. We're not underestimating that. But Canada will use its diplomatic efforts to try and stabilize the situation.
Canadian military personnel are in the Middle East right now?
There are some in the Middle East now. They are all fine, out of harm's way, and it's something that we're watching very carefully.
Rough estimate.
Minister, a number of countries in the region now are getting Iran is lobbying missiles at them, flying drones. Has there been any discussion about Canada taking part in an effort to defend these countries from bombing from them?
There has not. It's difficult for us to divine from Canada. Our forces, our operational folks are watching this carefully. Why Iran has decided to act the way it's acting in trying to drag other member countries in the Middle East, other sovereign states, into this war is a question that's better put to them. Probably predictable, but not helpful.
Minister, it's been nearly 12 years since the last Prime Minister visited Australia. I think it's been too long.
It's never too late. Here we are. I think it's going to be a very positive couple of days. Certainly on the defense and security side, I'm looking forward to making progress with our counterparts here. There's a new openness here in Australia to work with Canada. I would say that. I would say that the Prime Minister's outreach and indicating that there is another way for middle powers to come together and collaborate on the economy, on defense, on security, is a message that resonates very strongly. And in my meetings leading up to this visit with my counterpart, There's a great excitement here in Australia to see a further rapprochement between Canada and Australia.
What do you say? What do you say to former Liberal cabinet ministers?
So, give me one
What do you
second.
say to former Liberal cabinet ministers who?
Attends une seconde. En français? Non. Écoute, c'est un bon moment pour le Canada et l'Australie de venir ensemble, de poursuivre une coopération plus approfondie, économique et dans le domaine de la défense, évidemment. C'est jamais trop tard, mais je pense qu'il y a une réceptivité ici en Australie qui suit le discours que M. Carney, le Premier ministre, a prononcé à Davos, où il a indiqué qu'il y a une autre façon de procéder dans le monde. Absolument, il va toujours avoir des grands pouvoirs, mais c'est le moment maintenant pour des pays dits médiums au niveau de grandeur économique de venir ensemble, de s'aligner et de coopérer. Et c'est exactement ce qu'on fait ici.
Last question.
Was Canada given advance notice by the Americans of these strikes, of the U.S. strikes? And what do you say to former Liberal cabinet ministers like Wood Axworthy who criticized this decision to support the
Well,
US?
two things I would say to that. No, Canada was not given advance notice. Very clear on that. We've not been given advance notice. And two, the Liberal Party of Canada is a big tent. There's room for all kinds of competing views. I think it reflects Canadian society. That's a good thing. We're having dialogue, we're having debate. It's open, it's transparent. We'll find our way forward. And I think this mission here for Canadians indicates the efforts we're making to try to engage in the world. And, you know, and just perhaps with this, leave you with this, on the Indo-Pacific front, this is really an illustration of Canada acting practically in terms of Indo-Pacific engagement. And we'll have a lot more to say about this when we issue a final document or a communique coming from these meetings for the next couple of days. But it builds on the 12 agreements that we've signed, trade and defense, over the last 6 months. This is an unprecedented speed in Canadian history of engaging in the world. And we're hopeful it's going to lead to a further strengthening of the Canadian economy. It makes our economy more secure and more sovereign. That can only be a good thing for Canadians. Thank you very much. Thank you.
All right. There we
Je
go.
pense que M. Carney aura des choses à dire très bientôt là-dessus. Merci. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Okay, so
Minister.
there we go. That's David McGuinty in Sydney, Australia. Now it is 11 o'clock on the dots. Anita Anand, she's doing a keynote address. The Toronto Board of Trade, fireside chatting. So she's the speaking. They're all on a speaking tour. Parliament, if you haven't noticed, is shut down for the week. You know, because and they're all away. The politicians are afoot. They're all across the nation moving around. At least the federal ones are. Like it's Carney's India, Carney and crew. The new crew as well. Some of the one of the new conservatives. New liberals. India, Australia. They're gonna. Where Carney's speaking to the Senate and the Parliament in Australia. First time since I think Harper was the last guy. And then flying off to skipping stone to Japan. Japan, wonderful. Another island. Oceania and Asia. So basically they got some deals in India, some critical minerals deals, some uranium deals. That's all really I heard about it there. Now in Australia, it looks to be they're pushing for defense deals, softening something. I don't know. I have to rewatch this David McGuinty's. He's it's hard to get it. He's open with the information. He doesn't seem coy or anything, but as a defense minister should. He isn't liberal, pun intended, with his information you get out of him, right? It's very, He's good at his job. Unfortunately, it's nice. That's how you last, right? And so that's David McGuinty is there. Like I said, I have to rewatch to see what we got. Parse out the little bit you got out of him. But besides the fact that he's saying that, hey, they're trying to make defense deals and stuff like that with Australia and Japan. We'll see what happens there. Japan is spending their largest budget, since World War II. Shouldn't mention. It's the biggest budget. Their defense budget is huge, and of course they'll be buying from every country that's selling stuff, and we make stuff. It's not necessarily just weapons. It's there's life jackets that were required when you build ships. There's everything in between, right? And usually, at least under NATO, if you're a NATO country and stuff like that, that means the defense stuff you buy. Now, it doesn't always follow. It happened in the States more than once. But it keeps getting caught. Chinese parts in American equipment. It happened in these helicopters, as a matter of fact. Anyway, so the everything, the steel, everything from the tip to the tail, right? Has to be made in NATO-approved countries, and usually that's NATO countries. If some of the defense, right? I think there may be exemptions. Maybe Japan gets. I don't know. So that's a lot to do. That totally changes. It's the big industrial arm strength of the aligned countries. It's huge. And it's and if a company that's doing contracts for, say, an oil company, they're like, yeah, we got an oil company contract. This is great, one of the best companies, blah blah blah. Which is, they would be right to think so. And then that same said company to get a defense contract, making something similar for the defense, that they would then. Their dollar signs would be upped, and also their paperwork and everything from NATO stock numbering to standard of quality, or at least standard of inspection, would all go up. It's same animal, different beast. Right. So it's a big jump up for pricing and all this stuff like that. We're having a problem in the West. We're not being able to ramp up as fast as it seems Russia is, which is odd. Russia and thing. But the drone situation, I'm waiting on Anita Anand. That's why we're on this picture. The drone situation in Iran. There's been no word of them bombing the factories, the drone factories, which I find that odd. We're in day 3 now. Okay, maybe they're not saying. They're just keeping it close to the chest. But to me, if they hit the drone places, I would think that they would sing it on the mountains. Like, oh, we stopped the drones. Ukraine can celebrate. Sing it on the mountain, right? But maybe, just maybe, they're planning on keeping the facilities intact and not just changing these Shad drones from the most feared thing of Ukrainian civilian population and power company people, matter of fact, right? To actually literally making these things from from Iran, the Shad drones, and giving them to the Ukrainians in the whatever production. Wouldn't that be something? That would change the things. Because what seems to be happening is as Ukraine goes on and the negotiations drag on with Ukraine, the Trump administration is going after the periphery, right? They're at war. The Russian-Chinese organism can only take care of the vital organs, and it looks like Iran, thus far, is not a vital organ. As long as the oil must flow. It seems the oil is not flowing Strait of Hormuz. There are other exits through Iran, but not really. The other countries can go. There's another piping, but it's shut down. 20 kilometers shuts down the whole 20% of the oil industry. 20 kilometers of water. The biggest change that we have going on there is Israel has been hitting Hezbollah for, tit for tatting, but they're not fooling. This will be the most likely the last chapter for some time of Hezbollah. They, as the same with the vital organs of the China-Russia, whatever they are, Entente, the other vital organs of appendages of Iran are going to be starved for money and slowly swindered down while Israel will still collect taxes, right? So there's that. The Board of Peace, haven't heard much of, but it should be very peaceful there fairly shortly. I don't know, months, a year. It took a year for the regime, the Shah regime, to fall. A year. So the Iranian people and these mullahs are pretty. They sharpened on top of that tough people. So but everyone said they were getting the money out. Their leader, with 30 missiles passed. Still waiting on Anita Anand here. I can't believe this is going on. 9 minutes I've been speeching. So the oil must flow, but they could say the appendages. So the Oman, Yemen situation should also calm down with the Houthis. Should also calm down over time. Just the money situation. Either way, Iran, no matter what, is shut down. Like I said, their leader is gone, yes, but the money was already broken. Their internet is shut down, right? Their partners are not really there for them, right? So they were basically it's these situations alone don't seem to be able to change. And on top of it now with this bombing campaign, was it 900 hits in the first night, and they said they're going to ramp up. So first was missiles, Tomahawks and stuff like that, most likely small missiles that could blow up blocks kind of thing, or houses and stuff at least. And then and highly accurate, but we're not hearing much. And they're saying they're going after the missiles and drone launch sites, which can be mobile and can be dug in a little driveway size patch. So difficult, I say yes. So they're probably using new sensors, God knows what, and a lot of intel. So there's that going on. Boots on the ground, no people out. Doesn't seem to be, not right now. I don't know how many people want to go out when if you're in a major city, say, if it's 900, say at least 300 or 400 were in Tehran, the main capital, right, where it just was, That's a lot a minute, right? Out of a 24-hour period. 15 seconds, you're hearing a boom. Every 15 seconds, kind of thing. That's pretty good. You're not going out. You're just not. It ain't happening. So, Trump saying go out, they're getting ready to go out. Maybe if there's like lulls in, who knows? I don't know. We don't know what the bombing hours are, what's happening. Obviously, it's all hours of the day as the leader taking out of the daytime. Well, the leader's gone. They said maybe in a couple days. The other president said we'll have a new leader. Probably not a good idea. Probably not a good idea for them. Right? It's moving forward no matter what. You wish they had better leaders, and just realizing there's an inevitable move shifting on this American move, the banking system, China and Russia not being able or not wanting to help, even though they're getting all those nice Shed drones. So I'm confused about the drone not being struck. Are they going to give them to Ukraine? Or is that the idea? To first of all dismantle them, and then second of all sell them to the Ukrainians, most likely to reverse engineer so they can, But at the second, because there's I believe a 20,000 Korean person factory in Russia, I believe, that's building these Shed drones now. So if they get the plant in the original and all that, there, Intel, Smorgasbord, whatever that 20,000 person North Korean. Okay, so she's not speaking. She will not be speaking. That thing would be kind of null and void, right? It would seem. Right. Okay, so she's not speaking. But, Russia's, I think personally, even though we're Ukrainian, it should be worked out with Russia and China and be an economic situation going on fairly shortly. At the same time, like an arms race of military, and as things from the military technology will leak out to commercial. So what I believe is what we're about to see is a kind of Cold War, economic war, and technology in the middle class people, the people, will receive. There's going to be, in the process, a bunch of technologies we're going to be getting soon. AI is going to push it. Just think about, if you're working on it, Now everyone's got a doctor assistant. Okay, so all right. I like I said, everything's going good in Iran. Anita Anand, I guess, isn't speaking, or they don't want to advertise it. We got Susan Holt.
Okay. Welcome, everyone. Welcome.
Welcome.
My name is John Heron. I have the distinct honor to serve as your MC for our announcement here today. And I also serve as the Minister for Natural Resources in the province of New Brunswick. This is a very exciting day that we have here today. We are announcing, or this is the launch of the New Brunswick's new comprehensive mineral strategy. The government of Premier Holt is locked in on the need for New Brunswick to be a reliable supplier of minerals. Now, the world really has changed. Is that the world needs Canada as a source for reliable minerals. Canada is poised to prove to be the best jurisdiction in the world to invest in mining. Our objective with the comprehensive mineral strategy is to be the leading jurisdiction in the country with mining. That's by having Within that framework, of course, we're going to be environmentally responsible. From a regulatory perspective, we're going to be timely and predictable. But I want to make it very clear that there is no path forward in developing of our mineral resources with robust, iterative, genuine partnership with our First Nation communities. It's going to be a very, very exciting time. We're going to unlock a lot of wealth out of the geological assets that we have in New Brunswick. Fun fact, folks, 21 of the 34 critical minerals that have been identified by the federal government are found in the geology of New Brunswick. It's going to be a very, very exciting time, and I want to thank you all for being here. I'm serving as your MC. The mineral water will come at the end of this session, but I'm going to pass the microphone over to Premier Susan Holt, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay, 21 of the critical minerals of the 51, I believe. Atlantic potash. Oh, potash, really. Indian deposits, potash reserves on the eastern seaboard. Wow. I didn't know that. That's a big thing to find out, because potash is Saskatchewan. I think maybe Alberta also has some, but Saskatchewan has the major deposits. That would open up a lot. But what Saskatchewan is the St. Lawrence Seaways sediment. Basically, the whole province is basically the sediment over the centuries, eons, so on and so forth. Dinosaur time, and it's all this nice fine sand, and it's built up over banks, and there's a lot of rivers and stuff like that throughout the province, still to this day, not as great as it always was, as the sediment filled it in and made the province. So that is like stage one of mining, pre-fine, broken down geologically through ice and everything else, every other process, sent down the St. Lawrence and deposited. So they have already a pretty good start on a lot of mining. Someone told me about mining there, like right away. They're like, they already got a good start, right? The province is made by basically the earth crushing, grinding, shriveling, cleansing, flowing down the water, and dropping. So, it doesn't surprise me that there's a lot of mining there, 21 critical minerals. What does surprise me is that I never heard much about it before on a large stream. And this is, I guess, indium, I guess, is potash. So potash, there's like fertilizer, huge demand for potash worldwide. So another big thing. This is gold. That poly one thing. Something CU. So there are a lot. All right, let's hear it. And then we're going to have David Hodgson.
Thank you very much, Minister. Thank you, everyone, for being here. It's incredible to see such a huge crowd to come out and learn a little bit more about what New Brunswick has to offer people who want to see mining grow in Canada for the benefit of our country and for the benefit of the world. So I'm going to give you a little bit of history. New Brunswick has been in the mining business for a very, very long time. The first mine developed in New Brunswick was in the 1600s, before New Brunswick existed. It was a coal mine in Grand Lake, and it produced some of our country's first ever exports. So the roots run deep, and they run deep enough to attach to the University of New Brunswick, one of the oldest educational institutions in the country that has a unique program in geological engineering and earth sciences that has produced exceptional data and information on the unique geology that New Brunswick has. But that's not what makes us the best place to do mining today. We have the minerals. I'll list a few of them because they include very important minerals for our security and defense, for our green transition. We have tungsten, we have molybdenum, we have indium, we have antimony, we have zinc, we have copper, we have manganese, we have gold, we have potash, we have uranium. These are minerals that mean a lot to the world right now and a lot to Canada as we forge our path to energy security, to a strong defensive position with allies that are signing on around the world. And the reason why you want to develop these minerals in New Brunswick is because they are easily accessible. New Brunswick is a small province, and our minerals are not on an ice road 400 kilometers down the way. Our minerals are in our backyard. And by our backyard, I mean to say we have 40,000 kilometers of forested road already built through our beautiful province. We have rail connection. We have 2 deep water ports, including one in Beldoon that is a set down for bulk and mineral, a place to transship all around the world. So you can get your resource out of the ground, into the port, place for processing, and your employees don't have to live in a camp. They can live in a community where they can engage with their neighbors and really enjoy their cycle mining in New Brunswick. So it's an easy to access mineral, and with this strategy, you have a government that is exceptionally easy to work with. You have a minister that you can reach on a cell phone. You have a predictable and clear regulatory agenda. You have a goal to permit faster than...
Pause the book. New Brunswick Comprehensive Minerals Strategy. All right. Oh, that's good. I'm happy about the book, and I'm extra happy if I can get it for a reasonable price to free. That it's made of a binder type, so it lays flat on the counter as you're reading through it or wherever you have it. The ring binding system is nice when it comes to that stuff. Especially if you're flipping through the pages very quickly, sometimes on occasion dismissively. Lots of rings to hold that paper in, not just the 3 ring. I laugh, a joke. So the New Brunswick's Comprehensive Mineral Strategy. Okay, so there's like the 51. Actually, here. I talk about it, but here is the picture. All right, what's this one? No, that's the workout plan. Haven't done it today. A little sore. To wait till later to do my 3, probably when it gets dark. All right, okay, this one right here we go. No, NDP leadership race is going on. Lots going on there. Oh, here it is. Oh, no, that's the Ring of Fire. That is the Ring of Fire. Here we go. Critical minerals. There's a critical minerals. Do we want to count them? No, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 21. Okay, I have 21, and there's only 21, 2, 2, 3. Okay, so there's 28 on this critical minerals identified bureaucratic thing there. But in this has a couple things like rare earth, right? So there's other subcategories within this 28. So there's about 30, 28. That the government, that's what it is, the number, not 50, I guess. So the government identified, federal government identified. Of that, they're saying 21 are in New Brunswick. As I'm saying, it's basically Earth's mining deposits. The till. So there we go. That's basically what they got going. Let's hear what she has to say for the rest.
Anyone else, maintaining that rigor, ensuring the kind of standards that Canada is known for, but making sure that your project is ready to attract investment and get going. So this strategy speaks to how New Brunswick is moving from potential to performance, attracting investment, getting projects accelerated, and seeing that growth on the ground so that New Brunswickers are delivering exceptional mining expertise and good-paying jobs. Our province is reaping the benefits of this rich resource. We are contributing to Canada's security and economic position, and it's a win for everyone. So I would invite you to check out the strategy, to reach out to our phenomenal team, Come and visit us in New Brunswick and see why we are the place where you want to come and develop, explore, and produce the kind of resources that the world needs, and New Brunswick is ready to deliver. Alors, je vais vous remercier pour être ici. C'est un temps vraiment excitant pour le Nouveau-Brunswick parce que on
Minister, let me begin by congratulating your government. This is amazing. This is what it's all about, building Canada strong. We were together in Fredericton last week and had a chance to discuss mining in New Brunswick. And it's incredibly clear. New Brunswick's strategy reflects real vision. It lays out a clear path to responsibly develop New Brunswick's mineral resources across the entire value chain while raising the bar on environmental performance, strengthening partnerships with Indigenous peoples, and investing in skilled workforce that this sector requires. This work signals to investors, to international partners, and to the marketplace. If you're interested in seeing mines built and new mineral supplies developed, invest in New Brunswick. It positions New Brunswick as a strategic, dependable partner at a time when reliability in critical mineral supply chains is at a global premium. This strategy puts the province's geology, its workers, and its growing innovation ecosystem to work for all Canadians. It positions New Brunswick to support the industries of the future, from batteries and clean technology to advanced manufacturing and defense. That's good for everyone on Team Canada. We're already seeing this momentum translate into real projects. As was said in November, New Brunswick's Sisson project was referred to the Major Projects Office. The referral gives the Sisson mine coordinated federal support to advance towards final investment decision, whereupon it can strengthen Canada's critical mineral security by accelerating a significant tungsten supply for clean technology and national defense purposes. At the same time, Sisson will revitalize Canadian tungsten production for the first time in over a decade, creating jobs in New Brunswick for this generation and generations to come. New Brunswick's approach is fully aligned with our government's priorities. As the Prime Minister said in Davos, in a world that is becoming more fragmented, Canada is choosing a different path. A path of reliability, a path of partnership with Indigenous peoples, and a path to shared prosperity. But that choice is only possible because our provinces and territories are stepping up with forward-looking strategies like New Brunswick's. This Canadian unity, the fact that governments of all levels are rowing in the same direction from coast to coast to coast, is what sets us apart at home and on the world stage. To complement the work being done by provinces and territories, the Government of Canada is investing strategically to help provinces unlock their resource potential, create the conditions for projects to move faster, and build made-in-Canada value chains. We are activating new tools announced in Budget 2025, including the Critical Minerals Sovereign Fund and the First and Last Mile Fund, which will jumpstart the production and processing of critical minerals and associated roads, transmissions, and other infrastructure in Canada. In 2025, we also launched the Critical Minerals Production Alliance at the G7 Summit in Kananaskis, a critical forum through which we are working with international allies to make Canada and New Brunswick the destination of choice to build the sustainable mines, processing facilities, and value chains that the world needs. In October, at the G7 Energy and Environment Ministers meeting in Toronto, I announced the official launch of the Critical Minerals Production Alliance with 26 new investments, partnerships, and other measures. And earlier today, we announced another 30 new deals with 13 international partners, which will unlock an additional $12.1 billion in critical investments here in Canada. Our new defense industrial strategy also recognizes the importance of critical minerals. And for the first time in Canadian history, we are leveraging the Defense Production Act to designate critical minerals as essential to Canada's defence and national interests, enabling us to launch our own defence stockpiling regime and to support multilateral stockpiling efforts by our allies. In closing, I hope to leave you with a simple message. This is the greatest country in the world, and every single part of it, every single province, like New Brunswick, is what makes it that way. And when we work together and align efforts, like life is better for every Canadian. We can build, innovate, and achieve results at a pace and scale that was previously unimaginable. Ladies and gentlemen, today's strategy from New Brunswick is a perfect testament to the fact that provinces, territories, Indigenous partners, and the federal government are moving in alignment to unlock the full potential of our natural wealth, responsibly, competitively, and strategically, while building the strongest economy in the G7. That, ladies and gentlemen, is how we put cards in our hand. That is how we fight a trade war we did not ask for, but one that we will win. That is how we supply our domestic needs and serve as a trusted supplier to our allies. Most importantly, this is Team Canada. Thank you. Merci beaucoup.
Okay, everyone, I'm not new to politics, so the last thing I want to do is take up any more mic time by any shape, way, or form before we access what we call New Brunswick mineral water and Moosehead Lager. So Minister Hodgson has another event, and I'm going to walk with him just for a little bit. I will be back. I trust you'll save me at least one can for my return. Yes, you can get at least. So thank you very much for being here, and enjoy your mineral water.
That's the intro guy. He was actually kind of amusing. He was funny. Yeah, so tungsten, I spelled her. Tungsten, potash, gold, molybdenum, indium, potash. Oh, indium isn't potash because they're two different things. So there we go. They got 21 things, but those are the ones that they were highlighting. Gold, of course, is up there on their placard because, everyone likes gold. So there's a booklet. So you can see how thick it is. So it's about 20 pages. I guess I'm going to have to look online. You probably download the PDF. If not, I will be sending them a sternly lettered email in my mind, of course, because, to actually do it. Now, I think most likely it'll be a PDF as well. The booklets look good. It would be nice to have the booklet sent, though. And just I think it would be a good thing. There's a whole bunch of these really amazing booklets made in Canada by unknown bureaucratic departments in Canada that, if approved right away, would change this country from oh my God, if you're a human breathing person, you can't go outside without a recruiter snatching you up for some kind of a job. It was like that out west at one point, before the 2008 crash. I remember went to the bank. I should have taken the job. This is one of the regrets. This guy offered me an office job. We talked. I was going to the bank. Went to go pull out a couple of Sunday day off. Only day off had for long time. And offered me executive position. He told me all about it. And it didn't sound legit at first, but then it was. He's like, listen, you know how it is. I'm like, yeah, I do know. We were losing guys on my site, all the time, as everyone else was. And we had guys out there doing dirty tricks to skive guys from other crews, that's the best times. For a blue-collar worker, what you want, though they don't like it, You want those conditions for the owners as well, though they don't like it. It makes it a better, happier world around newspaper culture for the country when you have that. When you have this huge gulf of divide, the culture there's a gap. There's a missing. It's missing. So robust pay, more people than jobs. That's the way it is. Always the best position a country should be in. And the more crazy it goes, the better. There's worse problems to have. People think, obviously if you're an owner, you don't want that problem. Unfortunately, they have a lot of say. So import, because we can export labor. But this is a way of Canada getting back on track. Mining, lots of mining, and they said tungsten mine going in. Big one, the largest iridium or indium, and potash, Atlantic potash. That's a real shock. Saskatchewan has lots within, but another source out in New Brunswick, that would be a big thing right there along the water. But they need a nice big port, or maybe another one, or an upgrade, probably, and Canadian buildings, high-rise buildings. See, the thing is with people, if there's certain politicians, and this is where I differ. This is my argument, my theory. Salt this one all over the place. The idea of building homes and stuff like that, houses, I see that people around. First of all, the housing, a lot of times they're building, the grass plot is so small. It's the tiniest thing. It always reminds me of that Rodney Dangerfield movie when he has his, daughter's wedding in the backyard, and it's like, oh my God, everyone's packed in there. It's just tiny, so it's not really much of a backyard anyway. And people don't go outside. They just don't. In their own backyards, there's not even all these new neighborhoods, new houses, and none of them have a barbecue. If they do, a lot of them times they're in the garage, to be honest. So it's like what? Different folks. High-rise buildings, a beautiful, modern high-rise building would say the first floor of a type of commercial thing, and then a good security type to go to the rest of the building. And would, I believe, what more people would want in this country, and that's basically what they should be building anyway. If there's a housing crisis, bunch of these buildings, small contained buildings with a commercial unit, something on the bottom main floor, some kind of a plaza mall kind of thing, right? Generate more money out of the people that live there, drain every drop, right? And a lot of people will be able to live in slippers. There's buildings like that out west. They started to go in that direction, and then then the oil crashes and a bunch of other things. So let's see what we've got going on here. But a private partnership kind of deal would be good. So no Carney. He's speaking in the Senate of Australia, and I don't believe I can get the Australia or the Senate of Australia. I don't think I can get their feed. I tried before. Maybe I'll try again. House of Parliament and the House of Lords. Yeah, let's get this. Let's see what we got going on here. Things sometimes they change. Watch, read, listen. All right, we got some scheduled proceedings. All right, yeah, 9 a.m., 8 a.m., 9 a.m., 10 p.m. They got the Senate, the floor chamber. They don't have necessarily labeled. Oh, I have the whole proofs, everything. Oh, they got lots of stuff. Oh, they've shifted ahead. Now we'll have to see if we can get the actual video. But everything live, all on one comprehensive page. They've really shifted it up. But it doesn't say Carney. Education Inquiry Building, Asia, Senate, live, House of Representatives. Now I can go read the proofs. The proof for the second and the third. Okay, so they're answered. Oh, they're answered. Okay. Read the prayers. That's the Senate. Okay, Sue Lines. Sue Lines. Did the prayer. I don't know what the heck that means. Latest chamber answered. So they do the prayers. It's fantastic. Yeah. There you have it. Oh, yeah, it's on YouTube. 30,000 subscribers. Yeah. So I can't stream it. Or I will. Maybe I could, but I won't stream it. Don't stream. Oh, okay. Yeah, so I can get in. Let's see here. All these chambers, foreign affairs. They did defense and trade. Yeah. I know there's probably just me on here, but hey, what can I say?
Honourable members, the Speaker.
I acknowledge the Ngunnawal and Ngambri peoples who are the traditional custodians of the Canberra area and pay respect to the elders past and present of all Australia's Indigenous peoples. Almighty God, we humbly beseech thee to vouchsafe thy blessing upon this Parliament. Direct and prosper our deliberations to the advancement of thy glory and the true welfare of the people of Australia. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive them that trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. Call the clerk.
Government business, notice number 1. A motion in relation to the Right Honourable Mark Carney, Prime Minister of Canada.
Give the call to the Leader of the House.
Thanks very much, Speaker. I move the motion relating to the address by the Right Honourable Mark Carney, Prime Minister of Canada, on Thursday, 5 March 2026, in the terms in which it appears on the notice paper. For the information of members, what this will mean, people are aware that the Prime Minister will be here to address us on Thursday. It means on Thursday morning the bells will ring at 10:30. Not before. The front of the chamber will have been reconfigured to allow for the speech, and the senators will be invited to join us.
I'll put the question. Those opinions say aye. Again, no.
Of course, you can say aye.
But
Canada.
okay. I'll give the call to the Leader of the Opposition.
Mr. Speaker, I move that so much of the standing and sessional orders be suspended as would prevent the following from occurring immediately. The member for Hume presenting a bill for an act to amend the Criminal Code 1995 and for related purposes. Debate on the second reading of this bill proceeding immediately for a period of no longer than 1 hour. Any question required to complete passage of the bill then being put without delay, and any variation to this arrangement being made only on a motion moved by the Manager of Opposition Business. Mr. Speaker, standing orders today must be suspended to allow me to introduce a bill today without delay, because this issue is urgent and must be resolved today. Yeah. Mr. Speaker, we must be clear-eyed about threats to this nation. Consider what we've seen in recent years. The day after Hamas gleefully tortured, raped, mutilated and murdered 1,200 citizens in Israel, a rally was held at Lakemba in Sydney. There, a crowd cheered a radical Islamic cleric, and he described the terrorist attack on Israel,
horrible things.
Children in a
Awful.
parliament is a test.
Oh, and he goes.
Not a peep from any of them. Not a peep. Not a complaint when fighters were returning under their watch. But if this law had been in place while they were being quiet about it, this would...
Holy Jesus. Dude, this looks very similar to Canada, except they have shiny, sleek chairs in the front. It has a British feel to it. You know, they are part of the Commonwealth, right? Okay, so Connie on Thursday. I can do the feed that hasn't that isn't, and probably won't even be on YouTube. I would be the one doing the feed, most likely, if I can. If things work out, you know how it goes. So yeah, that's the Australia thing. They said they in their parliament has it going on, and their opposition very much so law and ordery people. Very jarring type of rhetoric that is being used by many people, and I think it's like. Personally, I think I would be advising a political people to move away from the overly harsh, ridiculous rhetoric and putting large efforts towards stopping it in our countries, right? Basically, like, have it to such a level that it can't happen here. But if you're going on vacation and whatever the frick, you know what I mean, outside in some vacation country, you know what I mean, right? We can only handle so much. That's what I think, and I don't mean of all tastes, like of course, obviously, and I don't even think any of it, but having Canada, you know, the States and stuff like that, a pristine, clean Australia, Japan, pristine, clean zone of like, no, you can't even find hard drugs. But, you know, you can go to the store and buy some cannabis, right? Something light, cannabis in a coffee a mineral water and and a cookie, some beef jerky. So things like that, light things. Anything else, you'll be shut down within hours. They got drones and horrible things monitoring. I think that would be cool with that personally. I'd be cool with a world like that. Not to the point of Judge Dredd where they're like doing horrible things to people if they violate it. Just that they're caught very quickly, right? Obviously through anything internet. And a lot of people I know disagree with me. Well, they can be abused. Of course it will be. It will be. Unfortunately. Good and bad. But having no more Epsteins or anything like that potential. That's why I think I'm a firm believer of a national project of I call it the Vulnerable Person Watch. It's a watch that's monitored by top secret nerds that live in some isolated town that never get out, right? That they're happy living in this isolated town, some Truman town, right? They're all fucking watched, and put in this Truman town, and they do a job monitoring the activities, the lives of vulnerable individuals, children, and elderly, right? Like what's going on. I haven't heard in the news about what's going on with that lady, the Guthrie lady. It's horrible. But it has tracking, has some kind of on again, off again mic, it turns on when it feels distress or something like that. It senses distress, so the microphone can go on, and then it can ask, right? Are you all, you know what I mean? Things like that can't be removed without sending in, I think these small price to pay for the vulnerable, right? And then do it to also with some obviously criminally people, You've done some bad things, we're going to monitor you. No problem. It's perfect. What's wrong with that? Recidivism is my biggest belief that we should be working on more than anything else. What mostly has we've resigned to, states way more so, but Scandinavia has it right. You worry about recidivism, and then everything gets better. But they're more worried about making the and this is why I disagree with this. This is where it starts from. We're going back to the Taurus with this whole conversation. They would discourage this type of talk. Is that saying that you can't have people all upset, this and that, and only worried about the punishment, and people, the victims of the crime, feeling good. They don't even benefit from the torturing of the person, not openly, or whatever, prisoning, whatever, doing horrible things to them, and having horrible things most likely happen into these loose jails. It doesn't really, I believe, help the as a community, if you look at a country as a community, and that's a part of the I don't think it's as great, especially if the person is more likely to recidivate, to do it again. Then it's like, oh my gosh, you got a cycle of this baloney, and the society can all get better if it's more concerned about rehabilitation than it is about the feeling about crime and punishment, getting that good feeling we got him and we get him, right, or her, or whatever. All right, that I think it's an old, it's the new thing we should be working on. It's the old idea, and it doesn't really work. And I'm not all open for everything, you know what I mean? Hey, right? It's a part of the game. We have politicians that literally day in, day out, that's what their bread and butter is. And I would advise against that talk rhetoric and moving forward to pushing the tools that'll stop this. This is what I believe is you'd stop it by really, really pissing people off with certain things. Like, there'd be people who totally live it. I don't want to have that device. It's an invasion. Yeah, well, people have chosen over and over, people of money and of low. It seems to be people of money or of power. It's not the ones that get accused. The lone wolves get accused, but it's the people of money and power. If you're these organizations that are the ones doing these things, but hey, right? Pick on the guy down the street. He looks funny. It's that guy, right? Situation. I'm digressing and into a place I know nothing, obviously, but it's just, to me, moving into that direction. It really would. If we had a cop that like there's a local patrol and he has, like, say 10 drones and in an area, throws up these 10 drones, checks out an area, does some monitoring that he's unaware of. It just goes to an AI database and AI checks to see it, you know what I mean? And then verified by this secret group in a small town, you know what I mean? Bunch of nerds. And then they give feedback if there is anything he needs to be aware of, or the station, someone in the station. We have crime drop to like 0, 100%, and make people aware that this is going on. It'll be dropped to 0 in these communities where they have these abilities, and just completely well. And then, of course, the concern, and then it could even be these watch things. It could be a great thing. It's a help for the parents. Like, it's a walkie-talkie on, and who didn't want to walk? I wanted walkie-talkies when I was a kid. When I got my walkie-talkies, I still remember that. It just was like one of the happiest days. So this on a watch, didn't we watch TV shows like Get Short? Anyway, it would be great. Everyone gets to watch. That's like super technologically awesome, and also at the same time monitored when in distress or when caught or something, right? Have it, I think it would be a creepy, awesome thing. Good. But I don't do any crime, so I had this. Yeah. Except my income isn't enough, and that's my only crime at the moment. Working on that. The story of the week, for the one person who's listening, got the story of the week. We're going back on the presidents. The first one was Chip. The Chips. That's the Biden story. I'm not sure if I can consider any of the ones yet a Trump story. I don't think so. Maybe loosely aligned, but I don't think I'm going to the Trump presidential story. But the Chips is the presidential story with the Biden. The next one I have I'm going to do it as short as possible, just as an intro. The Bush, with a funny intro, because I think he's a president of humor. He made good isms, like they call them Bushisms. And he would mix words. I think sometimes it was intentional, sometimes it was unintentional. It's funny. It's amusing. Bushisms. I think sometimes he was trying to say things. Sometimes he made mistakes. A little bit of both, maybe. He covered them with that. I don't know. He was funny, and he went on talk shows. He was the first president, I believe, at least for me, that I noticed that was allowed a little bit of humor. Not 100%. Like there was wolves in his admin that did things apparently, you hear about now. But he did talk shows. He did all kinds of great things. It was good. He was really good, and he's a funny individual. So I did a little a funny intro. I think it'll be a short story as an intro to a longer idea. Each president, of course, some things happened in their administration, and this one is the Bush one in Iraq. Starting with a shoe. The man with a shoe. Okay. Thanks for listening. Not commenting. And it's just you and me. All right. We're out of here. Thursday, Carney's speaking. So today they're doing some defense. I don't know what they're doing, but the defense minister spoke. So he must have been doing some kind of defense. There's a bunch of defense committee meetings going on in Australia today. So obviously they're doing some defense talk. That's the deal. What's happening? The Canadian convoy to Oceania, Australia. McGuinty, the defense minister, is speaking also kind of makes sense. And hopefully we have a submarine deal. We can get into that sub deal. Or icebreakers. Icebreakers would be good.